Okay, in the previous lecture, we have discussed the energy audit and the introduction part of the EIA. Okay, now in this lecture, we have discussed the process of the EIA. In previous lecture, we have already discussed the total 8 steps for the EIA. Now, the first one, which is the process of EIA, the first process, which is the screening. Okay, so what do you mean by screening? So, the screening process which determine whether a particular project require a preparation of an EIA or not, right? So, how to the screen? So, the case by case, by specific types or by the combination of the approaches, and always using the Annex 2 criteria, right? It criteria include the characteristics of the plan or their effect and the affected areas and etc. Okay. So the second step, which is the scoping. So it is a stage usually involving the public and other interested practice parties that identify the key environmental issues that should be addressed in the EIA. Right. Now the third one, which is the impact analysis. Okay. So in this include the type, then extent, duration, timing, then severity and significance of the impact is analyzed, right? Then impact mitigation in this step include the ensuring that residual impact are within an acceptable level and to enhance the environmental and the social benefits or not, right? Then it is the implementation of the measure designed to reduce the undesirable effect of a proposed action on the environment, right? The next step, which is the reporting. So the report of EIA is prepared and submitted to the concerned authority. So the first one, which is a description of the report, how to make a report. So a description of the project, then an outline of the main alternatives studied by the developer and an identification of the main reason for this choice, right? Then a description of the aspect of the environment likely to be significantly affected by the proposed system. Then measure to prevent, reduce and possibility offset adverse environmental effect. Then a non-technical summary. And the last one, which is an identification of any difficulties or technical defenses or the lack of the know-how encountered while compiling the required information. Okay, the next one, which is the review. So in this step, the report is studied thoroughly for any deficiencies and correction are made. Then public participants is the most important part of this step, right? The next step, which is the decision making. So in this step, it involves the deciding whether the project is acceptable or not, right? So the terms and conditions are finalized in this step. Okay, and the last step, which is the monitoring. So it involves ensuring the implementation of the conditions attached to the decision, verification or impact are as predicted or permitted, then confirming the mitigation measure are working as expected, then taking action to manage any unforeseen changes. Okay, so this is the whole process of the EIA, right? Now the next one, which is the table is given for the EIA processes. Okay, we already discussed that. The first one, which is screening. So which project need a full or partial assessment study is decided in this stage. Then scoping. So the which impact are necessary to be assessed is decided in this stage while doing the sole legal requirement and international convention, expert knowledge and public engagement are also considered, right? Then alternative solution that avoid or at least reduce the adverse impact of the project are also studied in this stage. Then investigation of alternate design or site that avoid or mitigate impact take places. Okay. Then next step, which is the assessment and evaluation of impact and development alternatives. In this include the environmental impact of the proposed project are analyzed. and light is thrown upon the alternative present to such projects. Okay. Then the report also called environmental impact statement. So the environmental management plan and also a non-technical summary of the project's impact is prepared for the general public in this stage, right? Then decision making. So the fate of the project is decided, whether the project is to be given approval or not, and if it is to be given, then under what condition, right? And the last one, which is the monitoring and compliances, enforcement and environment auditing. So that include monitoring whether the predicted impact and the mitigation effort happen as per the EMP, right? Okay, the next one, which is the environmental impact statement. It means EIS. Okay. So the environmental impact statement is a document that is designed to aid the decision makers in evaluating both the positive and negative environmental impact of the potential project, right? So it is a disclosure document that convey the information about the potential effect of various projects. Okay. The final EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment Report, is referred to an environmental impact statement, and the most national environmental laws have specified that the content of the EIS should have, right? So ideally the concept of an EIS should have the following benefits, right? The first is the executive summary, then policy, legal and administrative framework, then description of the environment, description of the proposed project in the detail, significant environmental impact, socio-economic analysis of the project, and the last one, which is impact identification and analysis of alternative. Then mitigation action, mitigation management plan, environmental management plan, monitoring program, knowledge gaps, then public involvement, then list of the references, and the appendix including the references document, then photographs, unpublished data, then terms of the references, consulting term compositions, then notes of the public consultation sessions, right? Okay, the EIS process, it includes the first one, which is the purpose of the scoping, right? Task 1, which is the scoping meeting. So in this, the purpose of the scoping meeting is to determine the scope of the draft EIS and to identify the major project issues to address in it, right? Then individual and firm that may have an interest in the project impact are invited to participate in the meeting. Then also the public represented in the group or individual can participate, right? The second task, which is the first draft. Okay, so the product of the scoping meeting is an EIS first draft report, right? So it describes the existing environmental condition and evaluate the project alternatives. Okay, so the brief discussion of the scoping process and the comment revised from the public are also included in this report. So the potential impact of each alternative is assessed as well as do nothing alternative, right? Then the report includes the potential short-term impact such as those associated with the construction phase like noise and the dust. Okay, so here the short-term report are given. So the long-term, which include the air water pollution, then worldwide displacement, then overloading of the infrastructure, mitigating measures are included with their cost and benefits quantified is possible, right? Okay, the task 3, which is public review of the draft. Okay, so the public participants in the EIA process is very important because it has a potential to lead to a better project, right? So the public often have a good suggestion for the item to be incorporated or give more emphasis in the EIS report. So the public are usually concerned for the social and the environmental aspect, the project and how it will affect the natural resources, wildlife and the historical monuments if any, right? So the contribution of the public in the reviewing the EIS report make the public a partner in the project, right? So they know the actual cost about the proposed project. Okay, now the task number 4, which is the final EIS draft. So after the responsible agency and the public have reviewed the EIS first draft and suggest a changes, a final EIS draft is prepared, right? So the administrative or the policy questions are answered by the agency and given to the EIS prepared, right? Then he develop an answer to the technical comment and the final draft is then submitted to the EPA for the review and the approval, right? So this is the whole EIS process, right? In the EIS process, there are 4 tasks, right? Now, the next one, which is the environmental management plan, it is EMP. So what do you mean by EMP? It is a detailed plan and schedule of measures necessary to minimize, mitigate and etc. any potential environmental impact identified by the EIA, and once the EIA is significant impact have been identified, it is necessary to prepare the environmental management plan, right? So in general, that EIA, EIS and EMP, they are interconnected, right? So the EMP should consist of a set of mitigation, monitoring and institution measures to be taken during the implementation and operation of the proposed project to eliminate adverse environmental impact and often reduce them to acceptable level, right? So the EMP should also include the action needed to implement this measure, including the following features. So which features? The first one, which is the mitigation based on the environmental impact reported in the EIA, and EMP should describe with the technical detail each mitigation measures, right? So the EMP should then include the monitoring objective that specify the type of the monitoring activities that will be linked to the mitigation measures, right? So specifically the monitoring section of the EMP, which provide the specific description, then technical details, monitoring measure that include the parameters to be measured, method to be used, sampling location, then frequency of the measurement, detection limits, okay, and the definition of the threshold that will signal the need of correction action, right? Then monitoring and reporting procedures to ensure early detection of the condition and necessitate particular mitigation measures and to furnish the information on the progress and the result of the mitigation, okay. So the EMP should also provide a specific description of institutional arrangement, like who is responsible for carrying out the mitigation and monitoring the measure, right? For example, for operation or for supervision, enforcement, then monitoring of implementation, remedial actions, financial, reporting and the staff training, right? So additionally, the EMP should include the estimate the cost of the measures and activities recommended, right? So it should consider compensatory measures if mitigation measures are not feasible or cost effective, right? So the EMP must be operative throughout the whole project cycle. So this is all about the EMP, right? So in this lecture we have discussed about the EIA, it means that environmental impact assessment, EIS, it means that environmental impact statement, and the third one, which is EMP, it is environmental management plan, right? I hope you all understood about the today's lecture. Thank you for the watching. Thank you.